Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Metaworld News. This week it is for the week ending August the 19th, although to be accurate, it's more like the 3 weeks ending August 19th. In fact, it's like the news for August because we have had 2 weeks off. We've been on holiday, quiet period anyway, and although I've got quite a bit of news to catch up on, there's nothing been really big happening that we've missed out on. Anyway, my name is Mal Burns. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Mal Burns, all one word. That's MALBURNS. And the highlights I'm picking for you today actually can be found on that feed if you missed the link when I'm reading it out. Okay, so let's get going. Scanning back to 2 weeks ago, VR Scout, all one word.com. Alice Bonacio wrote an article on experiencing the art of the Burning Man in virtual reality. Um, and this is well, it seems to be a collaboration between Intel and the Smithsonian and Linden Lab and their Sansar platform. And it's basically providing virtual access to the museum's Renwick or Renwick, I don't know how to pronounce it, gallery collections, as well as research and educational resources. Find out more about that at vrscout.com, or possibly if you ever hop into the Sansar platform, possibly there'll be I don't know what they have in there, some map or other. They'll probably, it's the sort of thing I imagine will be highly profiled, should we say? Right, YouTube's virtual reality creator lab is coming to London. Yes, that's here, where I is, am, whatever. Um, Earlier this year, they introduced the VR 180 workshop, and now it's coming across the pond to help and support sorry, educate European creators. It will be taking place on September the 18th to the 20th here in London. It's a 3-day intensive boot camp which will expose participants to the ins and outs of shooting 180-degree VR content. I'm not going to get my tongue twisted anymore on this one. Um, how I don't know. It's not indicative really here of. You should actually apply soon, by the look of it. Um, I think they're actually giving. I don't know how much it costs to take part, but I think if you are successfully, um, no, you might be lucky here. Those chosen for the program will receive between 30 and 40,000 US dollars in support of their project, as well as 3 months of official training from leading VR instructors and filmmakers. Okay, so all you aspiring Hollywood virtual reality people, whatever it is, surround vision, um, get all the Google and plan a trip to London. Right, voicesofvr.com, Kent By's regular podcast. Number 668, which was about 2 weeks ago, Guns, Money and Morals, a debate on the ethics of VR simulation capitalism and the limits of decentralized techno utopianism. There's a handful for you. Voicesofvr.com. You'll find out where that is when you get there. Another article at Virtuality Times, or oneword.com, Smithsonian renders art exhibition in virtuality, but that is of course tied in with the Burning Man one I mentioned. The perfect VR controller and headset is the one. Is there such a thing? You can find out at digitalbodies.net, digitalbodies.net. Overview kind of article there. And talking of actual virtual worlds, Sciencespace's new Archimatics enables support for real-time 3D VR modeling. This post is actually at uploadvr.com. I think Hamlet Orr in New World Notes has had a post on this too. Basically, it brings in-world editing toys as such into Sciencespace's virtual world. which, from authoring purposes, you normally have to do your work in Unity and then upload it to your space in Sciencebase. But the Archimetic, I keep wanting to say matrix, but it's matics, archimatics, allows you to do things like make buildings and scale them and do all the sort of stuff in world, in the same way that you might in all the print platforms like Second Life or Open Simulator. So not everything, of course, not the advanced lighting and all the rest of it, but you can do quite a lot with it live now. And of course, you can get into that on the web, though I wouldn't actually probably recommend using the web portal as the one for building. Right, Electronauts. Yeah, Electronauts sounds like something of a children's television show, doesn't it? It looks a bit like it too. But it's a surreal virtual reality music production tool for any skill level. You can find out more at vrscout.com. It's about a week ago this was published. Um, Servier sends to help with EDM's biggest names for this mind-bending musical experience. And credits, California-based VR studio, credits, etc., etc. Available on compatible headsets August the 7th. Survivos Electronauts is a hallucinatory, yes, that's right, hallucinatory music creation program designed for musicians of all skill levels. You use an assortment of custom interactive instruments, controls, and blah, blah, blah. So if you're into making music and want to do it in the virtual world, so to speak, check out Electronauts. Um, it says available on compatible. It will be already available by the sound of it. It says compatible websites, although it doesn't tell you which headsets are compatible. It certainly looks like the sort of thing that probably works with Oculus 5, Oculus Go, I should think. It looks simple enough. Who knows? Anyway, find out more at vrscout.com. Also at vrscout.com is a blog with a wonderful picture of an ape. Yes, it's one of your nice, friendly looking apes. It's on four legs as opposed to the ones in the movies, but otherwise it's a pretty good looking ape. Um, oh, well, I've just realised it is a real ape.
What?
Yes. No,
Okay.
I'm being silly and just trying to be silly on air. Right, okay. The blog has a nice picture of a real ape because Virtuality docu-series explores the lives of chimps freed from research labs. So basically, they're letting free a whole lot of former medical chimpanzees, which is a nice thing. Hercules and Leo, they're called, and they leave their isolated captivity and step outdoors for the very first time. All of which is being filmed in virtual reality with 360 cameras and stuff. So much fun to be had looking at this, if you like critters. And as long as they've got fur on them, I generally do. VRScout.com has more on that. Right, masses. More coming up of the Voices of VR.com podcast by Kent By. 669, which was a couple of weeks ago, was an interview with the internet co inventor Vint Cerf on decentralized internet challenges. Which was pretty interesting. I'm going to be skipping over most of the other ones because if you go to voicesofvr.com, you can just look down the list of all their podcasts, and over the course of 3 weeks, you've probably got about 40 of them. Kempai did actually spend a week broadcasting them from China, and he was obviously enjoying himself because we got more podcasts than usual. Right, a researcher outlines how VR data collection could be used against you. This was actually quite fascinating. It's an opinion piece from an American medical someone, and you'll find it at uploadvr.com. Uh, if you thought the information Facebook has about you based on a 2D web page and browsing around, that actually probably they're saying that pales by comparison with how much data collection could be used to if it's all 3D. Everything from what you do as an avatar in fictional places to what you do in the real world using mirror world techniques and geomapping. So VR is dangerous. It's not addictive. It's dangerous because of the surveillance tools. The old story, isn't it? You dream about things for half an hour and then you find the government and the corporations that come in and ruin them. That will be a good
Hmm.
example,
Yeah.
probably.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, yeah. Good little read that. As I say, it's over a week old now, but you should be able to find it at uploadvr.com. VR Focus, another website. Fragment VR offers windows on the real world from within VR. Okay, this is content. It's something called Fragment VR. Sounds rather interesting. Basically, to get to Fragment VR, you have to have another VR application called Within VR, which is like a portal. I know that's on Oculus Go. I think it even works in on 2D screens. But anyway, go to vrfocus.com for more about that. It's fairly incidental. Well, at least this week, where we're rushing through stuff. Right, now we're into a week or so ago, so this is pretty more up to date. How virtual reality's next generation shows key signs of a maturing market. This is a post by Ben Lang, the familiar Ben Lang at road2vr.com. That's road to VR, two being a TO, not a number thing. Number, what's a number thing? Right, road to VR, all one word.com. Ben Lang reporting. And looking at Rift, HGC, PSVR, more on that coming up in a minute. Yep, general stuff. Right, a privacy summit at Stanford will draft VR Bill of Rights. Yes, indeed. This is from uploadvr.com. Apparently, during November this year, Stanford's Department of Communication will be holding an industry summit about privacy in VR, which couldn't be more appropriate given I was just telling you about data collection in VR. The aim is to produce a draft of Bill of Rights for VR consumer that allows for this, that, and the other. But if you really want to know what this, that, and the other is, go to uploadvr.com. Right, deep dribble. That's a okay. This is a post at blog dot deep motion, or one word, deep as in the deeps of the sea, etc., and motion as in movement. So deepmotion.com. Deep dribble is all about simulating basketball with AI. This is quite fascinating, and I've just realised why it's on the list here. Um, Basically, it is actually avatar stuff. But the AI is driving the avatars. So they still look like avatars that you can interact with your avatar, but instead of being a real person, typist, or whatever you want to call it at the other end, it's actually an AI operating and animating this avatar. And clearly, this particular AI wants to be the world's whiz kid at basketball, and it's bouncing its ball all over the place. It does look quite realistic, but anyway, more about that at blog.deepemotion.com. And uploadvr.com report on yet another name, Lemnis, to show varifocal VR hardware and software platform at SIGGRAPH. Now, SIGGRAPH has been going on this week. It is a sort of industry conference, not a public facing consumer one, but lots of interesting stuff coming out there. So that as Upload VR had that post, and as I flip forward a bit, um, AI driven animations will make your digital avatars come to life. So there you go. They don't even have to be playing basketball, I guess. Another article here at engadget.com. That's Engadget. And I guess they're kind of I think it's a more general report, but it also mentions basketball amongst other things. Right, Nvidia, who make your wonderful graphics cards, Nvidia's new high-end Quadro RTX will be the first to include the Virtual Link VR port. Virtual Link VR port is meant to be basically a universal standard by which all headsets will plug into computers and stuff. It's actually a variation of the USB C standard that people are still only slowly picking up on. Um, Obviously, this only relates to things that have some kind of cable with either a tethered headset or a headset that's got a cable go somewhere else, which probably means it would be tethered anyway. So go figure. Anyway, all this is announced at SIGGRAPH yet again. And they also announced Turing, as in Alan Turing, I guess, their next generation GPU architecture aimed at real time ray tracing. And the first high end GPUs built on top of it, the RTX 8000, 6000, and 5000. 5000. And yeah, I mean, who would have thought about 20 years ago we would ever, ray tracing a painting forget a video.
Mm.
Ray, tra- ray tracing a painting was normally a matter of sort of getting it ready and then getting a holiday for 3 weeks, leaving the
Yeah.
computer running.
Very
And
intensive.
now it's going to be real time. Would you believe? I would add that you can't just go out and buy one of these graphics cards and stick it into your bog standard Best Buy machine. It ain't going to work. But you need the machine to go with it. But this is serious. It makes my current new state of the art graphics card here. It's going to make that look like an antique. Oh, no sooner you've got something, then there's another thing. I don't know. Sod's law. Okay, VRScout.com. Alice Bonasio again. Uh, she's got a post talking about Space VR, which of course went out of business, then got bought by Microsoft and has sort of resurfaced. They've released a new world-building kits. There's been quite a lot of coverage, as well as VR Scout here, about this. I mean, it obviously is good news because Microsoft are apparently putting these tools into Space VR and announcing it at the virtual town hall. Things that allow anyone to build customizable spaces. It's sort of well, we need to have Space VR work like um, Second Life. Open Sim. You go in and you can use tools in the world to make spaces. This is the real magic. It's one thing about building wonderful worlds, then uploading them, but to be actually in there with other people and able to do it live, that is the real thing. Unfortunately, this is just my comment. These wonderful new creative tools don't. None of them actually seem to do anything about the god awful avatars you're stuck with in whole space VR. So
Right.
you can build a nice flashy building, and you can have a 2.5D humanoid shaped contraption to walk in it. It doesn't gel. Anyway, that's life in alt space, really. Alt space, by the way, do have a Discord group these days, which is probably more interesting than reading. The you can see there are quite a lot of users in there and figure out what they're doing in there. Right, as I said, many more voices of VR.com things. Brewster Kale from the Internet Archive on Decentralized Web 2. Tech Law, Culture, Markets, a holistic look at decentralized web. Mocap giant Vicon reveals location-based VR tracking system, and etc. etc. I think this is probably the ones that are coming from China. Can't be sure. Common theme to them for sure. Right, VLScout.com again. 7 virtual reality titles nominated at this year's Emmy Awards. Now, virtual reality titles, there's too many of them these days for me to normally cover unless they're in an exceptional good cause or an exceptional experience that, shall we say, enters the not possible in real life sort of bracket. Um, but there are so many of them actually coming out now that they've got their own sections in things like the Emmy Awards, and the top 7 titles nominated are in this article at VRScout.com. That was 5 days ago, so we're getting up to date here now. Also, 5 days ago at uploadvr.com, a survey conducted by VR Intelligence and Superdata questioned nearly 600 VR and AR professionals to get a glimpse into the health of the industry and its overall direction. Now, 600 VR and AR professionals does not sound like a particularly large sample to me. Um, but apparently, based on this sample, most VR pros believe adoption is limited by cost and lack of content. Now, this is the pros in the industry, all 600. or of of whatever the greater figure is,
Hmm. Hmm.
think.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have a point. Lack of content is certainly a point I would agree with,
Mm-hmm.
and cost. So yeah, maybe it's been on the upward curve for a few years now, but the content, and the price points have not really. The price points has not tumbled enough, except possibly for Oculus Go, which is only a half measure thing. And content, well, I have to say, remember in the early days of web pages, somebody discovered GIFs, and every web page suddenly started flashing and beeping and bopping
Yeah,
around and
animated gifs.
basically doing
Yeah.
everything to stop you from reading it.
Yep.
Well, I tend to think VR content at the moment is a bit like that. Uh, the, the genre, people are not breaking the boundaries of the genre very much. They are simply taking a new subject and doing the same thing with them that the average 360 video did, or they're into. It's like altering a computer game on CD-ROM. You start introducing a few strands that mean you can turn one way or the other, but they come back and merge later on anyway. It's all just trickery in the paths the user takes. And really, it can be wonderful stuff. The Oculus Go has some lovely immersive photography where you stand on top of a mountain, look up and down and all around and fall over your wires in the process. So it is actually great to experience, but how many canyons or underwater scenes or running rivers do you want to see? Anyway, let's have something really new. There was a post this week. It's probably coming up. Um, BBC have actually done something that ties in with the Promenade concerts, oddly enough, coming up shortly. Anyway, I'll forget that for a minute. It might be in the list coming up here. Right, Voices VR, Voices VR. I did warn you, Voices of VR had a lot of stuff up. Um, yeah, another one. Their Doctor Rao they had. Um, Somebody from ACLU. God, really an awful lot on regulations. Um, digitalbodies.net. PlayStation's VR headset success shows what's holding VR back. This is a sort of bit of a review, basically pointing out that the PlayStation has hit a milestone with 3 million records sold. Contrast that with HTC Vive and Oculus Rift, which are both still under a million each. It's the winner by far, and they tend to look at what aspects of that may have caused it. That was a post this morning, 4 hours ago. Finally, oh, hold there you go. RotorVR.com, HTC is opening its 5-port VR app store to Oculus Rift users. Now, finally, I think this is something I'm not really too into all this high tech headsets and stuff like that. And we were talking about content. But one thing that really annoys me is the world where if you've got an Apple device, you have to buy from the App Store, and the things on the App Store that you can't get on a Windows Store or an Android Store or an HTC, etc., etc. Um, and I think this news is quite interesting because you see the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift as being the two big heavyweight champions, who, if PlayStation didn't exist, would be the leading helmets, which is what they are basically, and each have had their own applications and content. So what's actually happened now is that HTC is allowing Oculus Rift users into their marketplace, so that Oculus will be able to run the HTC software programs, and I presume that will ultimately be reciprocal. It may already be. It's just the way the article is worded. But this is good news for developers and everything, because if you are actually making an experience, you won't necessarily have to decide, is it going to be for Oculus or is it going to be for HTC Vive. As far as those two are concerned, it could be for both simultaneously, as it were. So a bit of interoperability news there, which is always a good thing. Right. Moving on. Oh, still more to go. Right, this is one I was thinking about. Uploadvr.com will give you the link about this BBC one. Um, it's um, it's a sort of a music, prose, and um, VR sort of mixture. It's called Nothing to Be Written, and it looks back to the early days of living in the trenches in World War I. And about it features spoken word, music, video, simulations, the whole done worse. It's not actually out yet, although the reviewers have seen it and are raving about it. Apparently, it's a sort of two-parter. There's about 7 minutes of which are like actual music, and then the actual whole program is about 20 minutes. And the musical part of it will be premiered, I guess, at one of the proms, the Promenade concerts here in Britain, which are coming up in probably the next week or two, and then the VR will be released afterwards. It will be available for Oculus Go as well. I know that, so I will probably be snooping into it. Right, SIGGRAPH 2018 again. Learn about Google's efforts to capture light fields. This is a post at uploadvr.com about 4 days ago. Quite a lot of just interesting stuff there, but of course also links to various places to see what Google are actually doing with light field technology, which is a completely new rendering system from what we know so far. But this would up the quality of virtuality and stuff really rather phenomenally. Okay, I'm looking at the clock. We're ticking by. VR could automate psychiatric care delivery, extending help to millions. This is a post you'll find at HCA News, all one word, HCANEWS.com. And fascinating stuff there. Or where it will catch your eye too, because the headline picture above the headline is of a pussycat, and we all know what pussycats on the web are like, don't we? Yes, indeed. Right, where was I? Isabella. Oh, I think this is the last one from today, an hour ago. Isabel Riva. Um, this is the author of the piece, I'm pretty sure. Uploadvr.com. How the Unity game engine will democratize film production and blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's an article that starts talking about Unity, and Unity is still often thought of as a game engine, but it's what it's capable of these days. You can build whole virtual worlds that aren't games. You can alter all sorts of three-dimensional stuff, and it's good enough now for Hollywood to use. So you're finding virtual sets that have live actors acting in them and stuff, as you see in the movies and TV. All that. The sets themselves can all be built now in Unity and lit in such a way that it actually puts Unity really in the category of CGI software as well now. It's gone way out of the just game authoring and virtual worlds into CGI. So they were looking at that there at uploadvr.com. So I can click the back arrow, and that takes me out of that feed. Now we do have another Twitter feed, which is named after a show. It's twitter.com/MetaWorld News, and I'm just having a peep in there, ad lib here, so to speak, to see if there's anything interesting. There's a medieval pageant thing, a video of something happening in DigiWorlds. Um, Article, I think it's from Ryan Schultz, or I'm not quite sure, on the company Avacon, who used to put on real world virtual sorry, real world conventions about for virtual worlds, and they now do virtual conventions about virtual worlds too. Ah, dear, more tongue twisting, eh? Now in Science Space, take a tour of home templates for your free region during Creator Weekend. Well, it's a bit the end of the day here. You'll find this post at nwn .blogs.com. That, of course, is Hamlet Orr's New World Notes. Science Space this weekend has been having what they call the Creator Weekend, and it's still going on, obviously. I think the events are going on, to the end of the day, American time. basically, or even though they operate on European time, they'll be taking that into account. Um, and Yeah, it's kind of, showing off stuff people are doing and stuff. So obviously, a lot of it at this stage is stuff that's been authored in Unity and brought in to Science Base, but there will, I should think, be some stuff that's actually been authored from within the world itself. So might be worth popping in and having a look in there when our shows are over. We want you to turn out before we're finished. Right, new Sansar release, script, snapshot, and share. All right, this is 2 days ago. This is a post from danielvoyager.wordpress.com. Linden Labs, sort of new wave effort called Sansar, has yet another new release out, and it's also they seem to be spending an awful lot of I don't know whether they're spending money on it or not. They, tie-ins with movies and museums and things like that. So, um, even though I don't know that it's particularly popular at the moment, they seem to be still putting out the plugs in terms of getting content into the platform and attracting people to often shall we say, virtual world avenues. Okay, new features in Altspace VR, Ryan Schultz, .com. Good blog. If you need a blog to follow on places and stuff, virtuality, RyanSchultz.com is very good. RyanSchultz.com. And a lot more about Second Life and stuff again these days, but nevertheless, a sort of general thing. Second Life's Philip Rosedale talks about High Fidelity Project. I have what? I'm going to ignore that one because that must be an old link. It might not be, but I think it's a video. Yes, it is a video anyway, so you can find the link to it on the Metaworld news feed. Um, Space VR social VR update, new custom built worlds. Again, digitalbodies.net. I think that was in our other feed too. Um, Microsoft is doubling down on social VR experiences. This is Rob Krasko. He's actually writing. No, he forwarded the link. This is actually a post at businessinsider.com. So business as in business, insider as insider, and stick them both together so they're all one word, and you got businessinsider.com. And delivered to Business Insider intelligence apps and platforms briefing subscribers, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, this is open. Apparently, subscribers got it a day early. Right. Obviously, Altspace VR features here because it's owned by Microsoft, but um, apparently, Microsoft have sort of, I don't know, how can you say it? Taking social VR seriously? Um, well, I
Perhaps.
guess as serious as Microsoft are capable of taking anything.
Hmm.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so article there. Also, and I was at this. This was absolutely wonderful. A new record. On my clock, it was actually 278 avatars, although officially they're only saying 256 avatars together at one time. This was in a stress test on High Fidelity's platform about a week ago. It would have been not this Friday just gone, the Friday before, and it was pretty spectacular. It's very odd, because people did not disappear in OSG res. If the server couldn't cope, everything went blank, and then people sort of resed in again all in one go. So there's never that feeling of some people dropping out and others dropping in. It was just more and more people piling in, and like a server switch going on in the background if it got a bit of overload coming in. So yeah, it was great fun. I was there, and great fun indeed. I have been in Hyperdasia quite a lot recently, and Philip Rosedale, in fact, their CEO and of course founder of Second Life, has been holding some discreet office hours about 7 in the morning, which is quite late my time recently, which have been very informative. Okay, social, the first social augmented reality experience for the Magic Leap 1. Oh, that's this may be news since James went on holiday. I know the Big In World's calamity isn't. Magic Leaps 1 finally came out. It looks like a pair of steampunk goggles, still a bit too big for comfort. But the things you hold in your hand seem to be nearly as big as the things you put on your face anyway. Um, Mixed reviews about it, but obviously, one of the compelling non-reasons for buying it at the moment is the sheer price of the thing. This sets you back over 2,000 US dollars, and apparently, really, it's just for developers at the moment. But I think a lot of developers get freebies, don't they? They don't have to pay 2.5 grand just to develop on it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there are mixed reviews, and some people actually rate it very highly. Other people are finding flaws with it that say other programs, other things are addressing better. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think the period of secrecy and everything else is pretty much over for Magic Leap. RyanSchultz.com had a piece on that, as did many other blogs. Worlds Adrift becoming a virtual world, early user base of MMO values, 3D content creation, avatar expression, exploring. Oh, where on? I don't even know where that leads to. It's a Tico link. Right, Worlds Adrift becoming. Okay, I'm sorry, that one's not opening, but you will be able to get the article if. Oh, yes, that goes to New World News, oddly enough. Right. All right, let's just see. A few things from uh, Hybrid Bigger Business. One of is about an art exhibit that opens in Metropolis next month. This was 2 weeks ago, but it opens on September 20th, and uh, we will be talking about this on our companion program here in World Review next week with one of the people involved with that called Art Blue. Um, but if you go to hypergridbusiness.com, you can actually find a little bit more about the background of that. In Worlds, the Worlds with a Z that was never on the hypergrid. Um, so many former in-worlds users departing to other open sim worlds, but few so far to Second Life. Interesting. This is Hamlet All's take on things. Um, Not many, although in-worlds is no more, very few people from in-worlds decided to go back to Second Life as a result. Although in-worlds is often compared to being a sort of Second Life thing because it was independent, it was not on the hypergrid, and it had its own Halcyon physics engine, which made it a complete package in its own right, which is one of the reasons its departure has shocked a lot of people. Apparently, I guess it's the people who got in, saw what was going on, and got their own publicity and quick. I gather the people that benefited most out of InWorld's collapse, in terms of picking up the residents, have been DigiWorlds and is it Open Sim World? There's been a bit of an analysis. I think DigiWorlds were the outright winner. I guess they've got a lot of sort of traction, um, and people know about them and a good reputation and all the things you need. Yeah. Right. RyanSchultz.com has a brief review of something called Oasis. It's an introduction to a new adults only social VR platform. Enough said there, I think. This fall's Avatar Fest to be the last. Now, this is posted at hypergridbusiness.com, and I would urge you to hang around here when we finish the news because we have Handheld and Erin standing by here in the studio, and we're just going to move to the other stage to do a little interview with them about that and the state of the hypergrid and everything else. But if you want to check out in the meantime, Hypergrid Business has a press release from them dated August the 8th. And flip, road to billion, road to this, and road to that, and road to the other. Um, Ah, I do love it when we occasionally get posts coming up. There's one here from sluniverse.com, by Dakota Tiboldi. You'd actually have to click the link on the feed to get through to the right post here. SL Universe would just take you to a huge homepage. Um, but it was entitled Hypergrid Stuff. And, this is the classic case of somebody in Second Life who's apparently decided he'd better have a look at this thing called the Hyperbreed. It's always a source of, well, curiosity and amusement too. But a lot of plugs for some wonderful people like Cherry Mango and Franco Grid and um, well, various people around, as it were. Okay. Okay, the other thing, the last thing I think here, Ryan Schultz had a post on finding a way around hypergrid connected open sim worlds. That's long overdue for him, really. That was about 2 weeks ago. And also 2 weeks ago, breaking news, which ain't anymore, basically. Former in-worlds staff to launch a new grid. And the InWorld's Discord channel has now changed its name to Islands with a Z, so it's Island Z. Um, but I gather there's another sort of named world that's been started up. So as well as InWorld's people disappearing to other grids, they both the InWorld's people and some InWorld's residents seem to be starting grids of their own too. So you could say the more the merrier. Although in some ways, I hope this doesn't mean that their former population becomes too sort of scattered and disjointed, as it were. Hopefully, if everything's on the hypergrid, this will not be the case. Anyway, enough of that. Okay, well, time is yep, time is going by here. So I'm going to ignore everything else on my screen. I think really that's it for the main highlights here. Um, we've been on holiday for 2 weeks, as I said. In my case, doing nothing much more than trying to cope with these slowly increasing temperatures, which have now passed for a while. But you were on actual holiday, James. Have a good time, did you?
I did. I did. I had a wonderful trip involving trains and planes and boats and automobiles. So we traveled around quite a bit, and
Oh
very
boy, yeah.
successful. No troubles.
Mm, great news.
Yep.
Planes, trains, and automobiles, but of course they
And
always
boats.
forget the. But they forget. Yeah, I was going to say, but they forget the boats, don't
Right.
they?
Right. Right.
I
Another
think I know
means.
which boats you mean. My partner Tara. Um, is it Puget Sound?
Yeah.
Sort
Puget.
of,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, sort of semi overlooks that. So when she mentions boats, it's that same place,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
a bit further south from where you were, I think, but
Yep. Indeed.
nevertheless, yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I think we're good to go. We will be back, of course, next week. I hope. Same time, same place. No more breaks. At least not for a few weeks yet. We will be taking another break. But the in September, but not quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll be back then. So meanwhile, it's goodbye from him.
And goodbye from him.
Yeah, that's done it, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See you later, folks. Bye for now.